when I was growing up, I grew up with a severe sort of, inferiority complex about my skin. Used to keep trying to rub it off, trying to get fairer for some reason. This feeling always gets you whenever you're growing up. So as a kind of response to that, of how kids would treat me, I used to read a lot, like as if that were my emancipation. So this poem is about an imagination of one of the theories of how William Shakespeare might have gone through the same thing. The theory is that he was an Indian guy who later fashioned himself into Shakespeare. Cool. If we are to consider theories involving Francis Bacon, William Stanley, Christopher Marlowe, Roger Manners, and more as the rightful Shakespeare, we must, for purposes of scientific rigor, also take into account a lesser known, if an unlikely, but immensely plausible scenario. That Shakespeare was, in fact, one Vilvam Sheshapar Iyer from near what is now Chennai, India. Legend goes that a long time ago, two demons, Ilvalan and Vatapi, born to sage Dhruva and Ashwamukhi, killed and terrorized around the world. They were demons after all and did not know another life. Vatapi would take the shape of a fruit and Ilvalan would offer it to unwitting passers-by. And since trust was high in those parts, the stranger would take a bite without question. Only for the fruit demon to retake his original form while within the stranger's body and come tearing out blood and entrails and all through their stomach. They continued this very bad behavior unabated. Until sage Agastya walked past them one day. Now sage Agastya was no ordinary saint. Son of Pulastya, son of Brahma, he was Gandalf, like the Beyonce of saints. Wielder of such immense divinity and wisdom that even the gods would praise him unashamed. Imagine a man, an amalgam of Elon Musk and Rajinikanth. This was no man, this was sage Agastya, goddammit. He too was offered a fruit. And through his Vedic, Ayurvedic, telepathic powers, he already knew what the demon brothers would be up to. He gamely ate the fruit, burping even as if to display satisfaction. But before Vatapi could do his very messy party trick, Agastya rubbed his stomach and said, Vatapi jirno bhava. Let Vatapi be digested. And Vatapi was digested, bringing their killing ways to an end with a killing. And the place came to be known as Konnur, a place of killing. To wipe the horror, Agastya planted a tree, a Vilva tree, a tree ascribed with majestic medicinal and spiritual healing powers. The area came to be known as Villivakam, or the land with a Vilvam. And it is here that our story really begins. Records show that in 1484 AD, a small plot of land was transferred in the name of Sivaswami Iyer. This plot of land had a single Vilva tree. Sivaswami got the nickname Vilvam prefixed to his own name and to the progeny that would follow. As he settled down with his wife Rajalakshmi Ammal, little did he know that one of his grandsons would go on to make his humble origins foreshadow greatness. Of his 13 children, the 11th was Vilvam Padmanabhan Iyer. Gifted in the languages from a young age, he decided to pursue his education in the local Hindu college. But his real education wouldn't begin until his torrid love affair with a visiting English lady. Bonding over poetry and just the raw pleasure of bumping genitalia, enamored by stories of castles and cake, he eloped with aforementioned lady. Living in relative modesty and privacy, they made 8 children, one for each day of the week. The third, a son, by way of his father and grandfather, became Vilvam Sheshapar Iyer. The boy was enrolled in a local preparatory school in the Warwickshire county of Stratford-upon-Avon. School would begin at 6 in the morning and end at 6 in the evening with a 2-hour break for dinner. No sports, no playtime, no recreational breaks. All of this was depressing for young Sheshapar. Add to that the taunting of his classmates, the grocer, the barber, the weaver, the blacksmith of his otherness. This brown muggle with his brown hands and brown knees and brown tongue, he would never be one of them. He shaped his fledgling beard into a goatee, would scrub his skin hard to silence the melanin, stand out in the snow to blanket his past, curled his tongue to cure his accent, kept his head ramrod straight so he wouldn't be the bobblehead. Sheshapar could never shake off the brown, it stuck to him like a stain. If only he had a more English gait, a more English heft, a more English way, a more English name. Vilvam Sheshapar Iyer christened himself William Shakespeare, reborn in hopes of acceptance. But what's in a name? That which we call a Sheshapar would still sting as Shakespeare. Distanced from, disappointed with, deemed outside the world of men, he plunged himself into pages, learning himself into civility about weaving and the law, Italian aristocracy and the ways of the proletariat, the classics and the cunning, revenge and mutilation and midnight balcony kissing. He learnt and he wrote, oh the beautiful wordsmith, uncurdler of curdled worldsmiths, the unblurred of the blurred smith, stirrer of the unstirred smith, rioter in the theatre of the absurd smith, questioner of the censored smith, making deaf hear the unheard smith, wingmaker for flightless birdsmith. He fought on, he wrote on, undeterred smith, writing himself into grudging recognition and reluctant backslapping and reverence. Life and work tearing through his stomach. The rest is history and literature. Here lies the body of Vilvam Sheshapar Iyer, the man who had to become arguably the greatest English writer to have ever lived in order to have ever been read at all. Consider him.